OANN.com. That's Rick Amato at OANN.com, as in One America News Network. All right. Sheryl Sandberg, who is a COO of Facebook, and Anna Marie Chavez, who is a CEO of the Girl Scouts, have partnered to launch a campaign to ban the use of the word bossy, claiming that it is offensive to women. They've also partnered with Beyonce, who, by the way, uses the word bitch 9 times in her current album. Joining me this time with insight and enlightenment is Karen Agnes, president of the Network of Enlightened Women. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick. It's great to join you.
Okay, great to have you. You say that this campaign is indicative of one of the main problems of feminism today. How so?
Yeah, Rick, I'm excited to talk about this because it's easy to dismiss a campaign like this as maybe a way for Sheryl Sandberg to sell some more books, or just a couple women trying to promote girls and achievement and leadership. But the problem with it is it's indicative of a major problem in feminism today, and that feminists too often advocate for policies that hurt young women and that treat women as victims in need of government intervention.
Yeah, so this victimizes. I'll have to say, Karen, I never even equated the word bossy with women. Not to say I haven't known bossy women. I'm not saying that. Believe me, I've been there. But I've known bossy men, too. I never equated the two until this thing came out. Am I missing something here?
No, that's another problem, is they are equating leadership and bossiness, and they're not the same. Leaders inspire people. We all know there's people that sometimes are just a little too bossy, and they need to be called on it, and they should be.
And as you say, this sort of paints women as being victims. How so?
Yeah, one of the things that I think is interesting about this campaign is in one of their main handouts, their tips for leadership for girls, it includes a statistic that found that by middle school, girls supposedly are 25% less likely than boys to want to lead or to like to lead. But you know what that's based on? It's based on research from over 15 years ago, from 1992 to 1997. So they're basing this on outdated statistics, and promoting those ideas doesn't really help young girls today. Promoting this idea that young girls are victims.
Progressives living in the past, it sounds like to me, Karen Agnes. All right, let's take a look at a recent a Bossy TV ad which is airing.
This is Ban Bossy. Take one.
Pushy. Stubborn. Stubborn. Pushy. Pushy. Stubborn. Stubborn. Bossy. Bossy. Bossy.
When I was growing up, I was called bossy.
I think the word bossy is just a squasher.
Being labeled something matters. By middle school,
girls are less interested in leadership than boys.
And that's because they worry about being called bossy.
We need to tell them it's okay to be ambitious.
We need to help them lean in.
Words matter.
Karen, this looks like a TV ad from Funny or Die, to be honest with you. I mean, this or Saturday Night Live, I'll go there with it. Which is worse, Beyonce using the word bitch 9 times or this using the word bossy?
Well, it's typical of liberals who bring in the big Hollywood celebrities like Beyonce to promote their causes. But what I'd advocate for is for people in Hollywood and TV and music stars like Beyonce. Why don't they start advocating for girls in their song? Remember Beyonce's song Bow Down? I don't think that's really empowering to women, and I don't think many of the songs sung by her husband Jay-Z are either.
Pretty hypocritical, isn't it, Karen Agnes? Speaking of hypocrisy, switching gears, Mitt Romney's binder quip, which he used during the campaign, looks pretty good right now compared to President Obama's record on hiring women in the federal workforce, doesn't it?
Supposedly, by the latest statistics now, women in the White House are actually paid less than men in the White House. So the president is quick to pull out the need for equal pay legislation, but I'd encourage him to re-examine his own White House. And really the problem, Rick, is that this White House just continues to advocate for policies that end up hurting women and all Americans who want to get jobs. We have a jobs crisis in this country, and we need the government to stop interfering.
Oh, boy, do we have a jobs crisis, whether it's male or female, whether it's young or old, whether it's black, white, or Hispanic or Asian. But quite frankly, it is the black demographic which is getting hit the hardest on the unemployment lines these past 5 years. Let's take a look at this President Obama speech saying that women deserve equal pay.
Women make up about half our workforce, but they still make 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. That is wrong. And in 2014, it's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
But as you say, Karen Agnes, not only are there less women working in the federal workforce, they are earning less pay on average than their male counterparts. President Obama is walking the walk, but just like he's doing in Russia, he's not talking the talk here. Look at it backwards. He's talking the talk, but not walking the walk.
Here's the problem. The president now wants to pass more legislation on equal pay. He wants to raise the minimum wage. He wants to continue to advocate for policies and legislation that lead to more entitlements. All this interference in the labor market doesn't help people get jobs. What he needs to do is stop advocating for this legislation that makes it harder for employers to hire employees.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you, Karen, I appreciate what you said. You used the word legislate several times and government interference several times. When you see women getting less pay in the federal workforce, when you see less women being hired as federal workers, what do you believe ought to take place to correct that discrepancy?
Yes, Rick, it's important that we have robust equal pay legislation in this country. I want women to get paid equally as equal as men do. But the issue is how much you want the government interfering in those employer and employee relationships. And when the Paycheck Fairness Act was introduced in Congress originally, even the Washington Post came out against it, saying that it would intrude too far into core business decisions. So when we talk about equal pay legislation, we just have to be careful about the consequences of it and how it might actually backfire and end up hurting the people that it's supposed to be helping.